Hey guys, as you've probably seen for today's thumbnail, we've got a new project car, and here she is. It's a 2010 Renault Clio 1.5 DCI, and it was donated to the channel by two very generous family members.
Massive thank you and a massive shout out to my Uncle Brian and my Auntie Margaret for giving us the car. So we've already said a lot of good points about this car, but as any home built project car, it's got its faults. Before we tell you any of that, first of all we're going to start off by giving it a nice clean and getting all the crap off.
So first impressions of the new to us Renault Clio is, although it's on nearly 140,000 miles, it still drives really nice. The 1.5 DCI engine's quite smooth, it's got plenty of punch even though it's not even got 100 horsepower. The gearbox still feels nice, tight and crisp. The steering's responsive, and everything still feels fairly tight. It's a great little car to drive.
So even though there's 140,000 miles on the clock, the interior is still really nice and clean. The only bits of wear we can see is the number 2 on the radio and the hinges on the glove box. They're a little loose, but everything else is immaculate. It's really nice and clean and is well looked after.
So now that the car's cleaned up, we can see what we're working with. There's a couple of faded bits like this silver lip on the front bumper. If we come round to the door handles, these have been faded as well, and there's a piece of trim on the front here. Also the wheels have got quite a lot of curb rash on them, so we want to get that fixed. We're not sure whether to go with the standard silver that they came with or go for a gloss black. Leave a note in the comments and help us decide, black or silver. There's also a little light scuff on the front bumper here that we can polish out, and there's a little scuff just under the trim on the door here. You probably can't see it on camera, it's so light, but it'll polish out as well. A couple of minor scratches on the quarter panel, again they're going to polish out, no problem at all.
Now the biggest problem with this car is that it's just failed its MOT. Now it's not all bad, it's failed because the two near side springs front and back have snapped, the brake discs are worn down below their limits, and the worst issue with this car is that the front subframe is heavily corroded. It's weakened, we don't know what we're going to do. We're either going to fix it or we're either going to get a new one, but that is for a later video.
One thing I do want to fix in this video is the key. Now the spare key is working absolutely fine. The original key, the main key, for some reason it starts the car okay, but it isn't unlocking and locking the central locking. So apparently it's had a replacement battery, but let's have a look. I can hear something rattling inside it, so let's take it apart, have a little look and see if we can fix it. Okay, so there's There's a button inside here. Here we go. Now I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be attached to something. The battery's located okay. And looking at the shape of this, the other battery contact should be here on the circuit board. And it isn't. It's in my hand. So this should be on here. Unfortunately, I don't have a soldering iron on me at the minute. But what if I just try and stick it down with some glue at the moment, just to hold the corners and just test it to see if this fixes it. So what I'm going to do, rather than glue it in place, because I'm going to have to solder it later, is I'm just going to tape it in place with a bit of masking tape at the moment, just to make sure it stays touching the contacts, and then we'll put the key back together and test it. Now this is, don't get me wrong, this isn't a permanent repair, but there's still a little contact there for the battery to touch. So let's clip this back together. That will keep it in place. And let's go test it.
Alright, so it's the moment of truth. It unlocks. And it locks again. Awesome. Now that's the first Renault Clio video done. It's all nice and clean so we can see what we're working with. We've gone through all the issues, but most importantly, we've got the key working again. If you like these videos, remember to subscribe, because we've checked the analytics and still 93% of you guys watching these videos aren't subscribed. Now YouTube doesn't lie, does it? So hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and we'll see you guys in the next one.